All right, 7 o'clock on the dot. We're all here because Harry isn't with us anymore. So we've got the full slate of people.
Is
Are we an all women's group now?
We are until we find a new person. I mean, usually Terry and Susan join us, but we don't need to wait for them to join. They'll probably just pop in. So why don't we begin? Because Marcia only has a half hour to stay with us today.
Okay.
So
Well,
I
move to approve the minutes.
I was just gonna ask that. I was just gonna share the agenda, which is just, you all have it, but just so that we can take a look at it, and I'll lead us through it. But yes, let's approve the minutes. Does anybody have any changes or alterations?
Nope.
No, they were really short. We had a pretty quick, we had a 50-minute meeting last time. So, all right,
Wow.
can I have so Jen moved to approve. Can we have a second?
Second.
That was
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, great. So we're all up to date with our minutes posting. Marcia, how do you want to handle, shall we just sort of jump the agenda and you can give us any updates you have, but also we can talk about the grant at the top of it because you're the one who knows the most about the grant.
I don't have any specific updates, so I didn't prepare anything. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
But just keep going. And
Okay, let me just ask you, Marcia, I just have one quick question. Is Baharo moving along in any way? 13B,
the decision was finalized. There were no appeals taken, so he's moving forward. The funding that he set aside for the bump outs and everything, we've worked out an agreement between their group and the town. And so we've got a design firm that's designing improvements from the train tracks down to Kennethtown Square for all of Commonwealth Ave. So there's going to be improved drainage, improved sidewalks, they're looking at possibly adding a bicycle lanes dedicated, and the bump outs at least the new Beharrell Street entrance intersection with Commonwealth Ave. Looking at the geometry of the existing or what was the existing Beharrell Street entrance by Saltbox Kitchen, it may not be possible to do what we wanted to do without losing too many parking spaces. So if we have a mid-block bump extension, that might be sufficient. So we're evaluating all of that. And that's being coordinated by Steve Dukran, our town engineer in Public Works.
It'd be really, can I say something?
Mhm.
It'd be really important. What's really important to do is before you approve the plans, if we can look at them. Because I live and work there and I walk there every day and they need, it's really important we do that to get, to make it evidence-based design and to make it, does it work for bicyclists? Does it work for someone pushing a stroller? Does it work for a wheelchair? We just got to really look at it because right now it's pretty dangerous there.
And that was one of the things that Patrick was very supportive of doing. And Steve has asked me to sort of be the not the liaison, but help facilitate that when they're ready.
That'd be awesome. That'd be so great if we could do that. And that's basically what we're supposed to do as a cultural district committee. So it's really for everybody. We want everybody walking, the old, the new, the young.
It would be for not just the cultural district, but also for the West Concord
That's
Advisory
perfect.
Committee.
Both together. We can really look at it and just say, because we really know it well. We know where people are breaking the rules and it'd just be really cool.
Right.
And I think it would make it easier for them to do a better job. And not to have the problems we're having now with, what we're going to talk about in a second with people walking on part of the bike path, riding bikes on the bike path where they shouldn't be, where it's getting all confused, We'll be talking about that in the next agenda item.
Marcia, what's the timeline for when those plans, we've seen the conceptual plans. You mean the like down and dirty plans for 13B?
I think it's more conceptual and I'm not sure where things stand. I will find out and I will do a follow-up email to all of you.
That'd be awesome if we could know, because we're getting questions about it too.
Okay. That's great. Okay, folks, do you mind, everyone, if we just talk about
No,
the
it's
grant?
a meeting that just I found out about.
Oh,
that
you have to do
Sorry.
might do some of it.
Do you mind if we talk about the grant now, even though it's number 4 on the agenda, just because Marcia's here and she might be able to give us some guidance? Is it all right if I move
No, go for it.
around a little bit? Okay. So we had shared some ideas on email about what we might do. The grant is due the second week of February. Has to be written the second week of February, but it would be great if we could come up with some pretty definitive plans now so that I could give the grant to you at our first week of February meeting, and you can finesse anything else you want. And then we can hand off the final. Does anybody want to, I had shared a few ideas that Marcia and I had tossed around. Does anyone want to start the discussion about what you might be thinking about for arts-oriented events to revitalize what's been going on in the village? Go ahead, Jen. I'm taking notes. So though it looks like I am typing, I'm listening to you. I'm taking minutes.
So I was reading the ideas that came out of it. I feel that something that could persist and have longer term benefit might be a better use of the money. And I'm really intrigued by this map idea, which is something that we've really been working on for ages and haven't really pushed through to the finish line. And maybe a grant and a deadline would help us do that. I think that's the kind of thing that could have a persistent value to all of the artists in the village. And, you know, also maybe perhaps be adaptable if we do another event like West Concord Discovery Day or Porch Fest or whatever. We'll already have a template for a map ready to go, and we'll be able to show off our new logo and highlight the restaurants. You know, I just think it ticks a lot of the boxes, whereas doing something that's discreet and has a limited shelf life, such as a video tour or a one-day event, might it just doesn't feel like it's the best use of funding for me. So that's just my personal opinion.
Well, I just want to second it. I think it's what we need to do. The fact is, I'm at the mill. Most people in the mill don't even know we're a cultural district. And the fact is, when you go to all the other cultural districts, you go to every store and they have pick up one piece of paper that shows the map and shows all the things that are there.
Right.
Most people don't even know where Artscape is.
Right.
And in a way, we still, with COVID, we have a chance to get it done. So soon when we get to post-COVID, we can have that one piece of paper at Soapbox Kitchen, at Deborah's, at the
And
Laundry.
I think it also will tie in with the vendors really well, with the for-profit businesses like restaurants and stores and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what we're supposed to do. Yeah.
Exactly. I lived here. So I moved here in 2003, which is a while ago, but I lived here for almost 2 years before I found Neshoba Bakery, which is I was looking for croissants and I wasn't crazy about the ones at tea cakes, and somebody was like, no, there's this bakery like down by there, and I was like, where? And it took me but like West Concord has a lot of hidden nooks and crannies, and I think the Artscape is another example. And a map could give us more of a sense of containment within our little district.
And
I
also
think we should roll it all out though with the logo too. I mean,
Exactly.
it all should happen at the same time with use of, you know, making shopping bags or whatever we decide to do as the way to get the logo out there everywhere, along with your wayfinding. And Marcia has something to add too.
I just want to say that today at the Economic Vitality Committee meeting, they were talking about something that you can hand out to newcomers and this. And so this might be a great segue and a great opportunity to have that as that takeaway and incorporate that with Concord Together and what they're doing and what some of these, what's being discussed in another committee. So I'm just sharing that.
Yeah, it's perfect. It all leverages together, and it's what we're supposed to be doing as a cultural district and little brand. We're branding basically.
Yeah, I don't think we have to get like outrageously, I don't mean to sound negative, but we don't have to get like outrageously innovative with this. Let's do something like very straightforward that has needed to be done for a while.
Maynard has done a really good job with this.
Carly,
Maynard has.
can you remind me how much money it is?
Well, let me just, okay, this is 7,500, and let me
Oh
just
my gosh.
explain to you,
Okay.
Marcia and I have, before the pandemic hit, we were meeting fairly regularly with Crosby Design, and the part of that discussion was to create a map that would then be that would like be put in the kiosk at the front of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, and another kiosk that we were that almost like a mall kiosk. But I don't know what to do. And so I think maybe we just abandon that, because I can't get a response. I've sent 3. I knew Richard,
You can mute them.
I'm trying, I don't see, thank you. So we, we have the map. We looked at the map. We didn't finalize the map. We would have brought that to you, but we talked about there was a sort of a stylized, there was a map with an aesthetic. And then, and the idea was to get some history on the back of the map. And we have a little grant for that. But I don't know what to say to you. I feel like I've been saying it over and over and over again. And I think we just have to, and Marcia, if you want to pipe up, but I've sent.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, let
Really?
me just finish. I sent 3 emails this week alone to
Right.
try to jumpstart that again. And
Are you talking about the emails to Billy?
yeah, so this process was well on its, time was spent, and Beth was there, and Marcia, and
So could I ask
okay.
could I make a comment about working with Billy? And not, you might be right, and it doesn't make sense to work with him on this, but in my experience, emails it's not great trying to get him. So I just walk over there,
Well, that,
and but I know that doesn't sound very efficient, but if you wanted to, maybe it's better not to work with him, but if you wanted to keep pursuing it with him, and I'd be happy to help, because I go over there pretty frequently.
go ahead, Kate, sorry.
Sorry. I was going to say, but I was at a couple of those meetings. You already have a bunch of time invested with him to get this thing done, because it was part of the whole wayfinding thing.
Yeah. Kate, what is your point, to continue on?
My point is to say, look, either we're doing this or we're not, but I guess have either you or Margot, or, he doesn't work closely with me on this, to just tell him that this is it and it's going to be time to move on.
Well,
I don't know. What do you think, Marcia?
Given Billy's past, I would suggest that if you want to do something as a takeaway, we need to find somebody else to do it.
I agree.
And
I
we
agree.
might use some of the ideas perhaps, but Billy, we can work on with the
Signs.
wayfinding piece or the sign, and that could be something separate. It doesn't have to be the same thing.
Did you guys see the map that I sent you?
Yeah.
That was, we don't have to have a perfect thing. That's already been made. And I think Billy made that. And that's a 1-page thing that could work. We could do
But
it.
it needs to go with the new logo and everything.
Yeah, but we could put the new logo on it.
I think we need a full design.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just basically, it basically is all there and kind of fun. We need the new logo and stuff, but.
Yeah, but if we're gonna do it this once, we should do it like really well and do
I
it
agree.
right. And it's
Do
not
it right
just
from the beginning.
piecemeal
and-
stuff together.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I would
Jen.
agree with you, Carlene. I find it very frustrating working with Billy sometimes. It's really, really hard to, to get product when you need product. And I would agree with you, Kate. I'm in Maynard every single day. And I don't know if you guys remember when I brought the brochures over to show you and handed out from Maynard. The only thing I would suggest different from them, they have like 3 different brochures for 3 different, if you want restaurants or if you want stores, I would say keep it all together in just
We
one
want-
map.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
want. Well, who
I
did
think it's a
Maynard
great
versus-
idea.
Who
But
did-
Maynard has a little stand in every single business.
Well, the same thing in Arlington. They'd have the same thing in the same thing in Northampton.
Yep.
They do the exact same thing. So it's like,
Yep.
it's like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
You could ask Maynard who did their, who did their graphics. We could.
Yeah.
I know the head of that committee, so I can ask them. Go ahead.
I emailed them and I never hear back from them.
Yeah, after our experience with the person who shall not be named, who did the Discover West Concord Day PR for us, that never happened. I really don't have patience for people who we pay to do work and the work doesn't get done. I understand when volunteers do things that things sometimes they drop the ball, but if we're compensating someone, then we need to behave like a customer and move on to a different vendor. I also think $7,500 is a lot of money. I've, worked with designers extensively in multiple different organizations, and $7,500 is a lot of money.
Yeah, but that's
could
not,
get-
that wouldn't just be for the
No, I
design.
understand, but we could budget for the design, budget for acrylic holders for the maps, budget
Oh.
for a certain number of initial print run. I would love to see a kiosk with the map that could also be similar to the one at the start of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, which I think is wonderful. What if we had something in
Yes,
the
that's been the
village
plan all
somewhere?
along. Yeah.
I mean, all of those things could fold into that $7,500
That would be
bucks. And
awesome. I think we should do-
yeah.
Let's do it.
And we've got the logo, we've got
I think we should do it. We've
yeah.
got time too, because it is COVID. We've got time to do it. We should do it and try to have it done by September, or have it done
Marcia,
by.
would you help me write? I don't know how to do is it an RFP? Is that what we would do? We'll do the grant, and then after we do, like, we advertise, you'll advertise
If
design.
we get the designer for under $5,000, we can pick whoever we want.
Great.
Oh, we can do that. That's easy.
Absolutely. And then you
Yeah.
have the additional 2,500 for your print run, for your acrylic holders, for your shopping bags, or for whatever else you need. But I mean, shopping bags we could do very, very cost effectively.
Well, shopping bags could even be, we could have 10,000 stickers printed and just put them on garden variety.
Oh, but I
recycle-
want us to do the reusable ones.
Oh, yeah, that
reusable
too. I love
shopping
that
bags.
idea.
Yeah.
Big idea
Like the
now.
TJ Maxx ones that you can
Right.
use over and over again.
Yeah, that they can either buy for cheap through the retailers or through someplace. Carlene, do you have a contact for the Maynard, like their own email address?
Yeah, Tim Hess is the guy who created that committee, and he has served 2 terms on it, and I know him. I don't really know that group, but I know him.
We have his
He's
email.
an architect.
I have his
Does the designer have to be someone based in Concord, or
I mean,
anybody in particular? Do we have, I have somebody incredible that I work with regularly that I can nominate if
Okay, that's great.
we want to start with someone new, but I don't want to step on any feet if there's already somebody in the pipeline.
Would it be inappropriate to talk to them about what you're thinking of, to see if our price point might be, or what they might estimate to do that work?
Sure.
You
That
mean
would be
before
We
write
should
it?
write up a creative brief for them.
Yeah, and it can just be a paragraph or two, specifically what the deliverables are.
Mhm.
But I think since we have the logo, this is a lot of, I don't want to say, plug and play, but this is not arduous design work.
No.
Right. And if you
Any-
have someone that you trust and is reliable and delivers in a timely fashion, then I think it's worth the next
Yeah,
step.
but I don't want to step on anyone's feet because
I may have someone else also outside of Bartlett too.
Yeah.
But I'd be interested in learning about your design person also,
sure.
or me.
Okay, good. All right, so I'll put some language together with Marcia's help, and so that by the next meeting, you guys can look at it and make sure that it's what sounds like what you want. And we'll go from there. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, and I think the goal would be, we have this all done, and I think this is great, because we'll get the identity, we'll get the brand, we'll get the bags, we'll have it all done by like June or something. It'll all be done.
Yeah.
So it'll be really,
Or
really.
even
good, and we'll
before
have a
then.
map. What?
We could get it done before then.
Or before then, but we got it done in 2021. That'd be awesome.
Right when we're all back, we can go out and shop.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Margot, did
I-
you want to say something?
Yeah, I have sort of a related, well, I'm interested in the kiosk, which is interesting because one of my suggestions for using grant money was going to be having display space in the town, to post things that are going on so people can see what's going on. We don't really have great places for that. And with that so what you're describing, this kiosk that would have the map, would that also be a place where people would, you could post happenings around the village?
Maybe we hadn't designed the kiosk. We talked a lot about it and where to put it, like whether it should be like somewhere around New Leaf, you know, where so people are coming from the train, but also walking down the street and they know where to go. But then another attractive spot is off the train, you know, with the idea that people get off the train and then you can see all at once where, and then, you know, it would list things almost in categories. The map would be there, but then there'd be like, you know, more information. And then also like water fountains and bike racks and bathrooms.
Okay, okay, so
So-
that's all, those are all information that doesn't change essentially, not like postings of
Mhm.
happenings.
Right, but if that were, you know, we have always fantasized about having some central place where we could have almost like a little visitor center and a bathroom, but
Yeah.
that never materialized. That's where that sort of stuff would go,
Right.
but maybe we could design a kiosk that has on one side happenings and on the other side, this map that we're
Right.
talking about. I mean, I
Right.
don't see why, I don't know who owns what land. I mean, that's not the easiest thing to do, but that's part of the idea is you know, giving information to people so they have their whereabouts. And I agree with you, Margot. There should be something where people can, you know, figure out what's going on, not just with the phone, but you know.
Right, I think that came up when, you know, there were those consultants who gave us,
Yeah.
you know, suggestions. That was one of them, you know, and I remember at the time I tried to create something at Neshoba Brook Bakery when you're going into the building. There's this area, this wall, I think it'd be a great spot, but that didn't work out.
I
And there,
thought-
you know, there is something,
I was gonna
there's
say,
something with-
I was thinking that maybe we could ask Deborah if we could put a big something in her alley, now that she
yes,
own that whole alley.
That'd be perfect.
right.
That'd be a good spot. That'd be
I
great.
was going to approach her about that. I mean, she does have these two big display cases that she puts posters up in. And that's sort of that's the closest thing we have, you know, it's pretty good.
There's one of those outside of Vintages too.
Yeah, and
tea
that was
cakes.
really awful.
Well, they
think-
both actually, you know, I mean, Deborah's is kind of hidden away there unless you know to walk down that alleyway. I mean, the windows of the 5 and 10 are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Really?
know. And
Who owns that that thing? Is it a realtor? You know, like the little
So-
house
I love
Yeah.
that thing.
by the
I was
tiles?
I was looking into that, Kate, because when I was thinking about this, I thought that would actually be a great location. You know, what you want though is something bigger, and that, you know, and then somebody, so I did ask at the, you know, who owns the building, and it's somebody who lives in Florida, I think. I don't know if Marcia knows, but yeah, I would have, yeah, I mean, and I'd be willing to do that if people thought it was worth pursuing. Try to track the person down. Could we have something a little better there? You know, we'd have to buy it and put it up and maintain it. So,
It just seems like those bulletin boards in those cases, they always look, except for Deborah, she keeps it, they always look so messy.
Yeah, I know.
well, see, that's the thing. And it actually makes me hesitate a little bit. I think a board like that can be really helpful, but someone has to be in charge of it and maintain it. And I know on this committee, you know, one of the most difficult things we have, I think, is that nobody's getting paid to do anything. And, you know, we could all, you know, what do? You all volunteer to take it for 6 months or something, or I don't know. It's the kind of thing that would be nice if it was maintained by a visitor center. But we don't really have that going on here. I don't know. Maybe I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be, but I do think that kind of board can look pretty drab if it's not, if someone's not maintaining it. So,
Watching over it, yeah, yeah. All right, well, I'm not sure I need to put the kiosk into the grant, but maybe I'll insert, maybe I'll figure out how to phrase it all. And then we can see how we feel about it. And then there'll still be plenty of time to finesse that language. Okay. Okay, so I'm just looking back at the agenda. Oh, annual report submission. I sent you a document that this is the annual report for the town, but it will probably also morph into our report for MCC when we have to
Mhm.
deliver it to them. So, you know, if anybody has any changes or, go ahead, Jen, I see your hand up.
I read it and I think it's great.
Yeah, it looks fine.
Thank you for doing it.
I think what we should add are some of the amazing pictures that we got to happen when we did, people put their individual memories of
Yeah.
the West Concord 5 and 10. And I think that's great. I've never seen that before. And I think that's really cool. And then so many people took time to make that happen by the holidays. I thought that was really special. And we should, and that's really important for history. I also think there was more than one movie made of the 5 and 10. And the town should have access to make sure they have all of them. There were 2 movies made, at least.
The other one, Anne.
So
who
the
made-
other one I'll send to you. I'm in it. And I think a high school kid made it.
Yeah, it was Josh who works at the 5 and 10.
He made it. It's really
Yeah,
good. So we
it's
should,
sweet.
I think it's really important. Part of what our committee got to happen and what we're making sure the town has a record of for history are these 2 films, as well as all the text that people put in the window.
Hey,
So
can
I
I
have
just,
pictures of that, but I'll also send you the link to the other movie if you don't have it. I'll send you all a link.
I want to do a little shout out for Carlene, who did most of the work to make that happen at the 5 and 10, and it meant so much to Maynard.
Yeah.
So Carlene, thank you.
Bravo,
Thanks for
Carlene.
that.
My pleasure. It was a
And
lot of,
that's great. I think it was amazing also that we got like more than 80 or 90 cars. It was incredible.
Oh, wow.
It
it
was
was the
really,
longest parade I'd ever seen in that format.
it was
Cars,
amazing. The
Fire
parade.
trucks, an ambulance, Tea Cake's car and the Concord Park car. And it was really fun. He was very touched. So that was really great. Okay, so I slotted 3 photos. I will add another one for the annual report and take a close up of some of those pics of postcards.
I've already taken them. I can send them to you if you
That'd be
want.
great. Marcia, do you know how many photos? It's always like a question to me. Can we include a bunch of photos in our annual report stuff?
You can include photos, but it's up to Erin if she has room or space for them. And she may intersperse them or she may bunch them up.
I
together.
think for history, we should include it because it's really historic what happened. And we got so many people to do it.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
got 60 people to make a postcard. That's fantastic.
Okay.
And you know, even if it doesn't make it into the annual report, it can go on your webpage. So if you send them to me, I can ask my staff to post them.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing, you know, and it's pretty cool.
Does the town have a Facebook page?
They do. It is under Erin Stevens, our public information officer, who is responsible for that.
Mhm. I was just wondering because when I was looking around about the Maynard, that the cultural district has their own Facebook page.
We asked for that. Marcia and I asked for that.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, this was a long time ago, Marcia, like 2 years ago, maybe, that request was denied because they wanted everything funneled through I don't know how to phrase it, but they wanted everything funneled through the sort of an institution of
Yeah.
Concord. And we have talked about this many times in this group over the years. And one of the things that comes up though, is that who would maintain it? And that's their point, is that if it's part of the Concord brand, they maintain it. But
Mhm.
I don't know, you want to revisit it with the town.
Okay.
Susan,
Go ahead, Susan.
there's a Facebook page for West Concord that the West Concord Advisory Council maintains. And I think what we should do is agree to co-maintain that page because I'm supposed to be putting stuff on that, but I do not have time and the organization to know exactly what's happening in West Concord all the time. And if we could all work together and be planning to put stuff up on that page, we can figure out a way to do some social scheduling, advance. I think we should do that.
Well, that'd be perfect. We could be the cultural district and the West Concord Advisory Committee page. It'd be great.
Marcia, are we like violating a direct order to do that?
I don't know. I can't say. I'd have to go check with Erin and with the town manager, but
No, I don't
there's a
know.
new town manager and maybe there's an opportunity here and I'm certainly open to having that conversation.
Yeah, because the problem is people don't want to go to 3 different pages for
Mhm.
one part of the town. It's too confusing.
So, there is another page I don't know, do any of you ever visit the West Concord Village Facebook page, which is maintained by Helen Halloran at the Flower Shop as much as anybody? It doesn't get a lot of traffic, but it's, the business group put it together. And, the aspiration is that the businesses would post there, which they do, but not that much. Is there any way to combine the two? I mean, we are trying to work with the businesses and promote them. Could the one that you're describing, Susan, be, I don't know, maybe we could just help the West Concord Village Facebook.
Maybe that's a good idea to combine both of them.
I mean, I know the businesses would love help with it.
The artists would love it.
Susan, what's the sort of origin of the one you're talking about? It was created by the WCAC.
So, yeah, I mean, so Pete DeRosa was managing it before I started having access to it. And now I'm really the only one in WCAC who has access to post things on it. However, again, I keep thinking the best content for this page is actually things that are more in your wheelhouse in terms of happenings in town and getting people excited about visiting the businesses and stuff. So I think if we put our heads together and came up with, like some ideas on what we wanted to put here, I'd be open to even like actually changing the name of this page to just be a more like West Concord, like events and happenings type page, as opposed to right now it's called West Concord Advisory Committee.
Susan, who on the committee was going to be doing outreach to businesses?
So that is Jeff, I
Right,
think.
Jeff Walton.
Yes.
So if Jeff Walton were to talk to Helen Halloran and brought you in, between the four of you, I bet, or the three of you, four of you, could
I think, yeah.
come up with how that might work.
Yes.
And then we can bring in the West Concord Junction.
I think it makes a lot more sense, because then when we have an art show, we know a place that all these other people will go to do it. Otherwise, we have to post it in 3 different places. You see, it's just too much work.
Is there, does the high school have internships or anything for those kids that we could have someone do an internship for like 4 or 5 months at a time and help us with the postings and that's their job?
The high school just does internships in the spring. And in fact, I'm glad you reminded me, because this is the time to try to get a high school intern, is like right now. Otherwise, I mean, I have high school volunteers. They're all juniors. They get Jen Montbach, you helped me post for that, and now I've got, I mean, really, I have more high school volunteers than I could possibly use. I need a volunteer coordinator.
A social media intern, I think.
Well,
actual
I can tell you as parent of a high schooler, that would be insanely popular, because showing up somewhere is the hardest part of being a teenager. And if you just have to do a project and you can do it from your bedroom, that would be hugely popular.
Someone would have to feed them a schedule and the content to post. I mean, that's the work. The postings, I mean, I'm not great at it, but I mean, it's coming up with the content schedule.
But if it were listings, Kate, you don't think we could trust them if someone just looks at it all, just to make sure nothing crazy is going up? But I mean, that's what, when we send out interns from Northeastern, they're doing the content. No one is feeding it to them. They're generating the content.
I think, but we, the organizations and the entities in the town are most likely going to be feeding a number of the content, so that it's sending them a schedule, or maybe there's a Google form or someplace to submit it. So that they can just pick it up and put in the links, because they have to put pictures in too, and make it, there needs to be a systematic way of submitting the information to get posted, and so that it includes like a Google form or something that includes all the information that they need, so that they're good postings. And if they want to just start posting, finding interesting articles or pictures to put in, then that's great too.
Jen, it sounds like you're the person who might be able to just give us an indication of whether this is something we could.
I don't know that I would rely on a high school student to do this soup to nuts. I think we definitely would have to give some more guidance and supervision
Yeah.
than you would a college student. But I do think it would be feasible. I know kids are looking for hours right now because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
They have to fulfill their hours to graduate, and they can't
Yeah.
do a car wash or any of the usual multi-hour things where they rack up a bunch of hours at volunteering at a live event. So doing something from home might be
And not end all be all, just
Fees all.
one more thing to help, it's hard to ask any one of us to be responsible for that entirely. As Susan just pointed out, it's a lot, right? I mean,
Right.
you've got a whole life, and to actually maintain that is almost like a full or part-time job.
I could put together a Google Doc that's like a guide to creating a post and distribute that to all of the people who would generate the content to tell them what format they should send it to the designated teenager. And so then the teenager just needs to like find the photo, format it properly, and actually do the physical uploading.
And they can do them in a bunch, they can schedule.
Yeah, you can schedule them
weeks
in
worth in
Hootsuite
there.
or whatever. Yeah.
Susan, shall you and I and Helen and whoever Marcia was just pointing out from your group get together on a Zoom and just sort of talk it through whether we can sort of bring these these two different things together into one?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. All right. So you and I will communicate offline about that, but that'll
Yeah.
be the action item out of this. And then on the next meeting, we'll bring to you all, and again, the logo. And I mean, again, this is all fitting into the same conversation, which is a more formalized outreach campaign on our own behalf. Make sense, everybody?
Yeah. I think another key thing we have to work on is getting more followers in general for Facebook, because I think, as we begin putting more content out there, I think people will stumble across it and want to be connected with it. But we should, if we're going to do this map that you're talking about, like, let's have our Facebook handle, on that map so that people can just put it into their phone, start following us, and get interesting tips on where to eat and stuff like that from our channel.
Well, and also we'll cross post it, on the other town Facebook pages that have a lot of traffic
Yep.
already.
Yep.
So that they know to go, what is it? The We West Concord Village or the Real West Concord, or I don't know. I get so many Concord Facebook.
Yeah, there's one
streaming
that's
posts.
like a guy who used to live here or grew up here, and he posts a lot of like old pictures
Mark
from
Hagan.
history.
Yeah.
Those are fun. Oh, is that related to Dot Higgins?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different ones. Some of them are various degrees of interesting.
Yeah. I can't keep them straight.
Okay. All right. So if it's all right, let's go on to the next agenda item. Dory Kehoe, some of you know her, some of you might not. She is a longtime member of the Green Thumbs and the sort of the local gardening group. And she, up until this year, was sort of the person responsible for Junction. Go ahead, Marcia.
I'm going to sign off now because I need to go to my other meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
so
Bye,
much.
Marcia.
Take care.
Bye,
Bye,
Marcia. Thank you.
Can you claim the host, Carlene, and shut this down when you're done?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you sign it to me? Are you going
Well,
to?
it's if you look at the participants, if you click on that and open up the list, there's a claim host on the bottom.
Oh. Enter host key to claim host role. Do you know what the key is?
Oh, no.
Jeremy
No,
usually
I
tells
don't
me, but
know.
he
I
didn't.
don't know. Okay, never mind.
I won't be able to share anything, but that's okay.
Yes, you will, I think, once I
Oh.
leave.
Still share.
Can I still share? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Bye, Marcia.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Bye,
Bye.
Marcia.
Thank you.
Good night.
So I had hoped to have the letter written for, a draft of a possible letter written for you to look at tonight's meeting, but then I didn't get it together. So let me explain to you what Dory Kehoe is asking for. She has been, I'm sure, maybe Susan has already heard this too. Yeah.
Yeah.
She is moving through many of the committees and groups that represent some aspect of West Concord, to ask the groups to write a letter to the select board, sort of signing on to, not a petition, but signing on to the notion that bikes riding through Junction Park next to the depot is too dangerous, that people should get off their bikes and walk them across the cobble. And she had asked for our support in this. And I see Richard, I'm not sure how to pronounce Richard's last name.
Hollander.
Holland is the co-chair of the Bruce Grumman Rail Trail Advisory Committee. So he might also have some guidance. Richard, if you want to take yourself off mute and talk to us a little bit about this. I don't know if you're in agreement with Dory or not. We haven't spoken about it.
Yeah, I just heard about this meeting like 2 minutes before it started, so.
And
you know,
that's my
doing-
fault. I apologize.
Don't worry, Tiff.
Yeah, that's no problem. We are, the Bruce Grumman Rail Trail Committee Dory presented to us. We have prepared a letter that was to be approved at our last meeting, which didn't work out because of Zoom complications. But so we're aware of the issue, and we're also sending a letter to the town manager and the select board to look at both short-term and longer-term solutions to the problem. If you're familiar with the area, you know, people come across the road and they stay on their bikes. I've observed it happen, and it's not, I would say it's sort of just what I'd call this, average people do it if there's nobody around. I wasn't trying to enforce anything, I'm just observing it. They figure nobody's around, so they're gonna ride their bikes. I don't know if there were people around, whether they would get off. There are probably some people who wouldn't. So, but in any event, there has been new signage put up in the area, and I don't know whether that's deterring anybody or not. So I think it's gonna be an ongoing problem, and we're gonna be looking for solutions.
Richard, what does the signage say? Are people I'm on it all the time, but I haven't like noticed.
Yeah, well, there are signs that, you know, sort of like small signs like you'd see up on a post that say walk your bikes. And then there was a kind of the sandwich board type sign put right at the intersection there, where if you're coming into that area from, you know, from Powder Mill Road, let's say that direction into the park, there's a sign, walk your bikes. It might say please on it. We also, you know, at the meeting, we discussed some ideas. One might be to create, and this would be an artistic idea perhaps, is to have a cutout of a person asking, you know, that would be a photograph that would be put onto a material that would last. And it could be an older person, because I think that's a particular concern. And they could be saying, you know, with like a bubble thing, please walk your bike or something to attract attention. I don't know.
Could you have something that's kind of stop sign like almost? I mean, really official looking.
There are official signs,
are?
looking signs there. You know,
Right now it feels a little random. And I didn't know till recently, until I went to the meeting actually at the WCAC, that it was a problem. And I live right near it. And where I walk it every day. I didn't even know about it. And so I think you need to just really look at a good design that does it in a way that's kind of elegant and makes it noticeable. And I think the sandwich board idea is nice, but it's kind of temporary and looks like it could go down. It feels kind of random. So you just have to look at a special designs of signs and just try it and see which looks best. Please walk bikes here.
It looks like, I mean, you need something that looks like it came from the town, that is serious, that you're, you know.
Have you
I think
considered,
part of the issue, I mean, it's a convoluted route. It was prior to my time on the committee. I think it was a combination of, you've got various, the land ownership there is convoluted, and you know, compromises were made in order to have it go the way it goes.
Yeah, traffic issues, MBTA issues.
Right,
blah, 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 blah.
crossing at where people cross to get on the trains. There's the parking lot, which is owned by the MBTA, parts of it, but not all of it. That kind of thing.
Can I be a nincompoop and say, as a citizen, I support this, but I don't think it has anything to do with our charge as a committee.
So that's part of the question is what do you all think? And, you know, to go back to what Anne is, Terry, I'm sorry, I'll let you talk in just a second. Just to
fine.
set the context. Anne is often talking about walkability and people feeling safe and feeling like, you know, strollers and wheelchairs as well as just walkers. And so I said to Dory, I would bring it to us because we do occupy ourselves with thinking about these sorts of things, safety, walkability, the sort of pedestrian friendly atmosphere that we want to create. So Jen, I don't know. I could see where that would be said, but I also really do think that we could be talking about something along these lines.
Right. Well, I mean, I think we, you know, if we all support it, we should send a letter. I mean, I think it would be
Yeah.
powerful to have every committee in town support it. But in terms of enforcing it, you know, signage or whatever has to come from police or
that-
something. I
that's
don't know,
not
not
what-
us. I mean,
But
we
I
can
think
make the signs pretty.
I think the design of the sign can come from us because
Yeah.
we can help, we can be part of the people that help choose a really nice design. So it really enhances West Concord as a place you hang out. You know, we want that. We want
Yeah.
really well-designed signs that make West Concord feel like it's someplace for everybody, even if you're not going shopping, but you can go hang out and a 75-year-old person go walk and a 5-year-old can go walk and they'll be safe. And so that's it.
Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, just to back up a minute. So I've been out of town on a family emergency. I apologize. I'm not up to speed on this. And I just invited Richard like at 6:59 when I happened to see it. So I'm just sort of coming back to the world from, I'm still out of town. But what is Dory asking for? She wants you to write a letter to the select board to request what?
Further enforcement, whether that's signage or I think that it's to prompt the conversation. Richard, you can insert yourself on this, but further enforcement and more permanent official looking signs to just try to get people off their bikes in that space.
But
Okay.
when I heard her speak, there's something more than that. There's that the elderly or older people that live in the housing right next to it,
Right.
their lives are at risk. When she presents, she's
Yeah.
saying
Oh,
she's
yeah.
really worried that the Concord residents that live very close to it
Oh,
and
it's safe.
use it.
Yeah,
We also
So,
received a letter from the director of Concord Park expressing concern in that regard.
Exactly. And so that's what's really motivating, I think.
It
Okay.
sounds to me like we should write a letter that says, as a committee whose charge is to keep West Concord pedestrian friendly and walkable and all of these things that we've talked about. We support this initiative and we volunteer to be part of the solution from a design and
Exactly.
perspective. You know, but we can't enforce it. We can't.
But I don't think they're expecting us to
no one
enforce
was ever saying that we would enforce. It was,
Right.
do we support this for these reasons? Things that we talk about all the time, walkability. And I think
Yeah.
Anne brings up a really good point. If we want to insert ourselves in this sort of, again, to use Harry's word, aesthetic, then we should ask if we could be part of the design of the signs.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, one of our suggestions in the letter, if it's approved by the committee, is that there be kind of an ad hoc committee set up to deal with this on a short-term basis. And again, Dory's also mentioned, you know, potential of longer-term solutions. Can there be rerouting that would take bikes out of the park altogether?
Well, that we can't do, but we could do the other part.
Correct. Well, I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
part of her agenda, I think, as well.
I think she wants the letter to ask for the select board to investigate the issue further, and you don't even have to say any solutions or,
No.
Really, tell what you think, should be done to fix it. It's more like tell the select board to further investigate, and that's all she needs the letter to.
And I think it's also important, and she's aware, and I think it's important to point out that as you probably know, the bridge over Route 2 is in construction and will be completed by either late this year or early next year, at which time there'll probably be a significant larger number of people arriving on bikes.
On bikes, yeah.
Susan, is the WCAC also sending a letter in support?
Yeah, in support of investigating it further. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess my only thing would be that we just make it clear that why we're supporting this,
Right.
because our charge, I don't know, I'm really into.
No, I agree.
staying on task and
Yeah.
not, I don't want to get into mission creep is what I'm saying.
Mm.
And I don't
agree.
want us feeling like we have to like, control every aspect of the village. But I do think this is worth our undersigning.
I mean,
Co-signing,
That's to me-
whatever.
if there were a committee established to look at this by the town manager or the select board, you may want to have a representative on that committee.
Or a liaison.
I don't know.
I think that's a great idea.
We could do that.
I could just take a minute to kind of summarize then. I think what the select board is going to be looking for is whether the other groups in town support it or are against it. So that would be important in your letter. If you support it, we want to know. If you don't support it, we want to know. We don't want to engage in some effort that you don't support. But nobody's looking for you to enforce it. In fact, the select board cannot even enforce it either. Part of the investigation, I think, will be, you might not know, there's a new traffic committee. I'm sorry, it's called Transportation Advisory Committee. And this is absolutely perfect for them. They're to be working on cars, bikes, pedestrians, wheelchairs, accessibility for everybody. So I'm hoping that this kind of issue will go to them so they can look at the whole Junction Park, how it's supposed to be operating. And we might not then need an ad hoc committee. Maybe that committee will look into it, but you're going to want representation probably. And if you want to help design the signs, I think the signs are wonderful, but they're not enough. They're not going to enforce it. So
Terry, we should maybe have someone from that committee come and talk to us about what they're doing.
exactly.
I think the
Maybe-
Transportation Advisory Committee, we should definitely do that because we need to improve how our sidewalks are designed. We need to be doing evidence-based design and we're not. And
Right.
Transportation Advisory Committee is huge. I mean, we know people have been killed in Concord in crosswalks this past year. We've got to do a better job.
Yeah.
So in your letter, I recommend that you include that you'd like to have somebody from the Transportation Advisory Board Committee come and meet with you on these issues.
Oh, great.
That'd be awesome.
Okay. Does someone, I can do this, or does someone else want to draft that letter? And send it around, or do you want me to do a quick draft and others can wordsmith it? Anyone? Burn it?
I'm happy to wordsmith it. I don't want to write
And
it.
you already dictated it. You already wrote it. That was perfect.
I'll draft it and then yes, you can wordsmith it, Jen, and everyone. We can't deliberate, but I think you can send me your comments and I'll be able to capture what people are saying. I think we're pretty much all on the same page. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yep.
Dory will be happy. All right, moving down the list. Logistics, where to find and how to use our new logo. I don't really know how to lead this particular conversation. Harry said that I haven't checked in my email, but he said, bye, Richard, thank you for coming. Harry said that he sent that logo out and I just need to wrap my mind around we had talked about this, but I didn't move forward on it. Putting together a Google Drive so that we all know where it is and we can all use it and it's in different formats. That's not really my expertise, that sort of technical stuff. So maybe if someone else could take the lead on that, that would really help me.
I can help.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kate. Just a place for it to exist in its different formats so that everyone knows how to get it. Maybe like a spec sheet. I don't know how to, it's not my thing. So
Okay.
I think you might've already done it all, but I just don't know. And it makes my brain hurt. So thank you so much. Okay, new member recruitment. So we need a new member and Kate, you had talked about perhaps putting out or for sort of creating some sort of structure for how we might recruit.
One of the things I want us to think about are what are really the needs of this committee since we've been in existence. Is it 2 years, 3 years, something, 2.5 years, something, I don't know. But I think it's important given the tasks that we do on this committee, that as it's evolved, that we find the right people to fill those roles and also the right cross section of the people that we need to have on this committee too, from either it's the various institutions or and skill sets, and people who can bring more awareness to this committee too. I don't know if is there something that already dictates who should be on the committee?
I don't think there's any guidance in our charter or anything like that. Terry, are you about to raise your hand? No. I don't
Yeah,
think,
I agree. I think we have to look at the charge. We have to double check,
Mhm.
but I don't recall that you have to have like one from the business community, one, senior citizen, or any qualifications like that. I don't recall anything like that, but I think we have to double check.
Okay.
I also think there's some people, I know my committee term ends in May. So other people, I'll be getting off the committee.
yeah, so we should identify even more than one person. Does anyone want to throw out some sort of ideas of the types of skill sets and categories that are missing? I mean, I think it would be great to have a designer.
Listen, I have a lot of experience with putting boards together and the makeup of a board, obviously, because I'm run a nonprofit. And I would say that this committee definitely needs a designer. Also, people that are, their skill set is marketing and publicity. The things that we look for on our board, make sure we have a fairly large board of just under 20. It varies. It goes between 15 and 22. But we always make sure, obviously for my reasons, we always make sure we have an accountant, we have an attorney, but we always have somebody who specializes in marketing and publicity, always have a designer. So I do know a lot of designers, web design and just design in general, just for brochures or for posters or those kinds of things.
Also, folks who are enthusiastic about running events.
Well, event-based, yes. So we call that our fundraising committee, but just even event-based activities, whether you're looking for funds or not, that's actually kind of something I love to do. I love it, obviously, event-based things, because I'm a producer by profession. So if you have all those people on your committee, those are always people whose brains are just, I mean, they may not always do all the work, but their brains are just so valuable, and their ideas and their, the knowledge they have. So I think marketing and publicity person and a designer, I think those are the things you want to look for.
Would we write a note write a little ad in the Concord Journal, or how do you think we would go about recruiting some of these?
I don't think that you should look for a board member like that. I think that I certainly have enough resources that I could find you people easily, just by
It should
reaching
be
out.
word of mouth, the way you recruited all of us, Carlene.
Yeah.
We need to go to a lot of cocktail parties and
Remember this? Remember
I know,
going to
I
those
know,
places?
I
Yeah.
know.
Vague.
And
we were at a
what
birthday-
are the residency restrictions on these too? Terry?
Okay, I looked up the charge on the website. It says the members of the West Concord Junction Cultural District Committee shall be appointed by the Select Board. The term of office shall be 3 years. The committee shall be comprised of 7 members representing a diversity of interests, backgrounds involved with cultural. That looks like a typo. The membership shall be as follows: 1 member to represent the visual arts entities in the district, 1 member to represent the performing arts in the district, and 5 citizens at large with diverse backgrounds interested in promoting culture in West Concord.
That's a good charge.
You have to be citizens of Concord, and 5 at large, 1 for the visual arts and 1 for the performing arts.
So we've had 1, 2, 3 performing arts, 1, 2 visual. Who else do we have? Is it just the 5 of us now?
There's 6.
Oh, and Carlene. I don't even think of you as a member. I think of you as like an actual paid staff member because you do all the work. Yeah. Jeez. You're not the volunteer.
I'm the at-large.
Yeah.
Performing arts, visual arts. How about Jen Flint? I know you're
Asked
friends.
her- we had an exchange about it and she said it's not her bag.
So Lisa, did you have anybody in mind after listening to that charge who you would approach?
I know quite a few people that I would reach out to and have a conversation with. But when we recruit board members, what we do is we ask people to go out and start, putting together a list, speak to the people, and then come back to us and say,
Yep.
like what Carlene just said, I've already spoken to so-and-so, it's not her thing. Because for us to sit and throw around names, it's all great, but if people just don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. But I can think of, easily off the top of my head, I can already think of 3 people that, with the skill sets I mentioned, that are that could be members at large. But
And
yeah,
How do we
Okay.
go about that, Lisa? Do we?
I'll talk to them. I'll ask them.
Great.
I will talk to people. Yeah.
And are they vested in West Concord?
They're vested in Concord. They're vested in arts organizations.
Mhm.
Yeah. They're the people that have worked for me. I've been running my organization for 23 years, and we've had people in and out, and we've always had somebody in marketing and publicity. And if they commit, they're in it. They're in it. They'll do it for those 3 years. They might even do it for 6. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
But for me, I can always tell when I'm burning someone out, and I can always tell when I know the people that are in it and I know the people that aren't. So, we always have, a really robust board. I wouldn't ask anybody who didn't have something to offer. So I can think of 3 people off the top of my head that would really bring something. I know people that are specifically interested in just writing grants. I have 2 people on my board right now that all they want to do is write grants. And that's what they're doing.
I need to know their names.
Yeah, do they like chamber music?
I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing. They're doing it for me, and they've already written 2 this year.
Oh my God, I need to
You
know
can
that.
have them when they're done with me.
Okay, that sounds good.
But I also have one of the greatest marketing and publicity people in the world. I mean, that was her profession and her career. It's what she does for a living, and then she does it for me part-time. It's been tricky to use her as much as I need this year, but
And she's on your board. She's not paid staff.
no, you're looking at paid staff. No, I only have, I'm the only full-time employee, and then we have 3 other part-time employees. And none of them do any of that. They are doing, data entry and banking and, program. My ed director does all my classes. I do all the productions. And then we have 2 business people in the office. That's
Do you
it.
think, Lisa and Terry and everyone, do you think 3 years is too long of a term for people like these sort of like high octane people? Do you think if it were 2 years, it might make it more attractive?
3 years is my term. We have people for 3 years, and they're willing to do it. Yeah. I think 3 years is a good amount of time, because then they're in it.
Yeah.
They're committed.
Yep.
Do you have the option, Kate, of people staying longer, or do you make them leave at the end of 3 years?
You can stay on for 1 additional year and then you have to head off.
Yeah, the Concord Players does that. If you can do 2 terms and then you have to go off for at least 1 term, but then you can come back. We don't ask people to go off. And we've had, most people at the end of 6 years, their kids are sort of grown and out of it. So they leave anyway. People will do 2 terms with me, but I have one woman who's been with me she's been on my board for 20 years.
Well,
And
you have a really big board though, for the size of your organization too.
We have a very big organization. We have 15 to 22 members. It is a big board, but it's mostly fundraising. But so for example, on my board, 2 people are dedicated to writing grants. 1 person is hospitality, which means that whenever anybody that is close to us in our organization is sick or has someone die, or, they're in charge of sending those flowers. We have about 8 people on our fundraising committee. That's our big committee. We also have a budget committee. So our treasurer has a small budget committee. you know, we have all these subcommittees that,
Yep.
but our fundraising is the big one because we're nonprofit. That's what we do. Sadly for us, which is not how you're supposed to operate a business, 10% of our operating budget comes from fundraising. So we really have to be on top of that. And it doesn't include our annual appeal. We only do one direct mail for
Yeah, but
fundraising.
10% isn't very big.
Yeah, but in an ideal business situation, you don't want any percentage of fundraising going to operating costs.
All
Fundraising
right, so
should
you
be-
and I have to have a conversation.
Yeah,
about
I'm in
this,
big
yeah,
trouble
because
then.
That's
You
the
know, it's bad.
opposite of what I've been
Let's-
schooled
Let's
on.
talk because I can teach you how to, I mean, we're in that. It's not a good thing. You really don't want that ideally. But we can talk about that. But we have 3 people on our marketing and publicity committee. And so one person does press releases and others does, you know, do the photos and get them out.
The
You know,
dream.
we service 13 communities, so we have to get all these photos and information out to all these other newspapers, and we have Facebook and Instagram, and what is the Snapchat? We have all of that. So we have somebody managing that. So we have like 3 or 4 people doing publicity constantly for us, constantly updating. I mean,
Well, You
not
have
much-
incredible expertise. I just started a nonprofit last year. I'd love to talk
brutal.
with
It's brutal. I mean, I've been in this job for 23 years, and before that, I was on the board of this organization for 7. So I know a lot about it. It's hard stuff. But when you get those people that are in it, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. My marketing person right now is a Concord mother. She's got kids at the high school. Oh God, her youngest is at the high school. So she's got 1 or 2 in college and other kids at the high school. She is unbelievable. And I hate her because she's constantly on me. Lisa, you have to take this phone call. Lisa, you have to do this interview. I'm like, I hate interviews more than anything. Even right now, I'm not comfortable. I like a nice written script that I can memorize and, you know, do my shtick. But she makes me. She's scary, but she's brilliant. And she's a Concord resident. So when I'm done with her, I might share her.
Okay. You have a new expertise.
I do. I
You could
do.
make millions.
Masterclass on this. Lisa,
I
so
do.
Masterclass.
you
Yeah.
might be able to talk to them by our next meeting, or is that?
Yeah, I'll absolutely reach out to them and,
Okay. And we'll talk
yeah,
about it. Okay, great. Thank you so much. That was really interesting. And again, maybe masterclass from Lisa at some point about
it's
this.
just my advice about what I think we need on this board, to see
Yeah.
somebody with really knows marketing and publicity and really knows how to get us branded and out there.
Yep,
And then also,
I totally
you know,
agree.
yeah, I mean, that's their expertise. They know how to do it. They're a little bit of, they're bullies, but good bullies.
Yeah.
Oh,
good.
they have to have the time to do it too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I don't have the time to spend all my time doing
No,
doing it.
exactly, because you're running your business
Right.
and that's why you need someone else to do it for you. Yeah.
All
I
right.
meant with this committee.
No, we know.
Oh, right,
No,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Susan and Ann, anything to give us as an update on design guidelines in terms of? the
Yeah, I think
preparation?
we need to make it really quick because I need to go in 5 minutes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So Ann and I have drafted the preamble to the larger West Concord design guidelines. We shared a draft of it at the WCAC meeting last week, and everyone liked the way it was coming together. And what I'd love to do is share it out with you all as well in the format of, like, it'll be a Word document, and then you would send, I guess you could send comments to Ann from this committee if you want, and my committee is sending comments to me. And then, like, Ann and I will merge all of those comments together, and then we can have this preamble document that will really help keep people more updated on what we want in West Concord in terms of the walkability, the architecture, all of that. So it's not a long document. I think it's maybe 5 pages, but it includes pictures that take up, you know, like half of a few pages. So not much text at all, pictures, places where I'd love to get you all's input.
That sounds amazing. So will you send that out soon to us?
Yeah,
It's terrific.
I'll send it tonight. Yeah.
Does that sound good to everybody?
Yep.
Great.
Comments to Ann? Wonderful.
Thank you for working on that, Susan.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're welcome. It's really been a pleasure. And I think it's a great collaboration between our 2 committees.
Yeah, we can. Okay, and then finally, Margot, let's hear what's going on with Art Scramble 2.
Art Scramble 2. Wow. That has been quite a project, people. That has been quite a project. So yeah, I don't, it's hard to give a short summary about the farm mural, which I continue to think is a fantastic mural, but it's still not done. And there was a point this fall when I just had to, I had to put it on the back burner because I needed to do fundraising and tend to my family and all kinds of things that I've been putting off. So it's just about every tile is done at this point. But there have been so many little kind of glitchy problems, like, I managed to put part of it up in the window of the West Concord Pharmacy and at the 5 and 10 this fall, which was part of my intent, and I'd like to be doing that now. The problem was that when I didn't understand that because the tiles at that point weren't permanently adhered to a hard background, they were just duct taped to a foam board. So, and they warped in the sun. So they warped in the sun. Now, Billy had warned me about that, but I thought it was going to take, that was something that would take a long time to have happen, but it didn't. So that's one of the reasons I go to Billy's a lot, is he has little by little been straightening out those tiles. But everything does take a long time with Billy. So that's one of many things that's going on at this point. And I still need help with, I would still hope to get help others on where is this beautiful mural going to go up? But I haven't pursued that. I have talked to the owner and, there's various things. I don't know. I guess that's about it. I think I could still get a little money, which would be great out of it by, it could still use a couple of sponsors. Middlesex Bank is the obvious thing, but I go to them for everything. So I was trying to think of someone else.
Sounds like that was really disappointing with the warping. What percentage, or do you even have, like, how many tiles?
It's not, it's just that it's one of many things that slowed things down.
Yeah.
The tiles are going to be fine. It's okay. You and I had talked, Carlene, about having a task force who would both help, bring this one to conclusion and also, have more of a team to do the next one. I hope that we do keep, there was this aspiration of having 5 murals, and I'd love to see that happen, but I definitely need, I need people on board. I need to be part of more of a team and not be entirely in charge.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that. So
Well, it's also it's just a lot of work. And in terms of where to put it, do you have, are you still wanting to put it on the 7-Eleven?
Oh, no, I've had to give up on that, sadly. The Carr family, well, really, it's basically, what's her name? This couple owns the building.
Yeah.
Started the pharmacy. And yeah, that's definitely not going to go anywhere. On the other hand, at least for this one, I'm a very stubborn person. I could imagine maybe the next one, but it was pointed out to me, Matt felt like, a mural about our local farms, maybe it's better that it's not displayed under a sign that says 7-Eleven right above it.
Oh, you wanted it on Saltbox. I forgot about that.
You just asked me about the pharmacy building.
Right,
And I'm saying, yeah. And that's
right.
That's one reason why, how cool would it be to go on the side of Saltbox?
Right.
Of course. And that building is owned by John Boynton Sr. So that's just one of the things I'm hoping. Maybe someone will help me pursue that
I
angle.
can reach out to him.
It doesn't have to be.
I can help you reach out to him.
I'm sorry, what?
I can help you reach out to him.
To John Boynton Sr.?
Yes.
This is the senior, right?
Yes, I know the senior.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Yeah. Okay.
I can help you reach out. He's crazy. I can reach out to him. He's funny.
He is. I know him too. He's a nice man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and Margot, I was just driving by Art Scramble 1 today and just I paused there and was just marveling at how beautiful it is. So I know
It
it's
really is.
a vlog, but it just enlivens the
Yeah.
village in such an it's
And,
very-
and just think, we can put it on the map when the map comes out.
right. Well, that's the
I
goal.
know.
Have a whole walking
I know.
tour of the
No,
neighborhood.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope the next one is done more efficiently, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy with
Well,
it.
when I was doing the annual report, I was thinking it's just such a triumph. It's so amazing that you pulled it off through the pandemic, like delivering art kits to all of these people all over the town with, your gloves on. I mean, it's just what she did was such a marvel, everyone, I mean, it's just amazing that you pulled it off against all that adversity. So
Yeah.
it's like extra special Art Scramble too, because of all it, all it meant and all it brought together. And when everyone, we couldn't do anything together, but yet there's 288 tiles that everyone did together. So, bravo, well done. Anything else from anyone in the room before we Terry?
Yeah, well, a couple comments about the mural. This is a really crazy brainstorming idea, but they say no idea is too stupid. So I'll just mention, you were talking before about the grant, and the map sounds fantastic. I think we should do that. And the kiosk, what if we use some of the grant money to combine the kiosk with a way to mount the mural? So now people are attracted to the kiosk because there's this beautiful mural. So they come over to see it. And then under the mural or next to it is the kiosk with all the brochures and maps and everything. So I have no idea how feasible it is. Just a crazy idea. Question about the films. The films about the 5 and 10. Is it, oh, Marcia's not here anymore. Were you guys talking about posting them on the on your website page?
Yeah, they're on the town's website page, but we'll.
They're
Wonderful.
films. One film I think was longer than the other, but they're both really good.
Okay, great. And they're going to be posted on the town's.
They are. Well, the
Mhm.
town's one is, but.
Yeah, good.
And then we'll put it on this Facebook page that Susan's talking about.
Great.
And then Terry, we'll talk more about your idea with the kiosk, because I think that there's a lot of potential there with the kiosk and an information center that Margot wants to do. I think,
Yeah, and the kiosk and the art, branding the kiosk for the art is brilliant.
It's
brilliant.
all
Yeah, I love it.
interlaced. Okay.
Maybe even in the park, since we have to make a lot of changes Junction Park. Maybe we'll put it in there somehow with the kiosk. I don't know.
We'll see what Dory says.
Put it right in the way of the bicycles.
Put it where, Margot?
Put it right in the way of where the bicycles would be.
Yeah, right.
Right there.
All right, everyone. There's a bunch to do, but we'll get it done and look for what was I have it all in my notes. I'm not going to show you the grant until next time. Oh, the draft letter for the select board. So look for that over the coming days.
So we're meeting again. Are we meeting on the 2nd?
Yeah, we got to get back. The second week isn't working for anyone, especially Lisa. So we're going to meet.
Sorry.
No, it's better to meet the first Tuesday. So we're going to have a quick turnaround this time, February 2. Is that okay? We'll have a really quick meeting so we can vote on the grant. And
Well, what time is it at?
we can, 7 is when we usually do it.
Well, I can't be there. I have to give a talk, so I can't be there. That's okay. It's the other 2nd.
All right. Is a better time I think it should be the 2nd, but is there a better time?
I'll do it back to you if you want. I think I'm giving a talk on the 2nd.
Okay.
From
7,
6:30 to
everybody else?
6:38. I think I'm giving a talk, so I can't do it. But someone else, I don't have to be there.
Is 7 all right for the rest of the gang?
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be quick. It won't be this long. This was an hour and 20 minutes. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thanks,
Good night.
everybody.
Great to see
Great
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Great meeting, Lisa.